Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. I was gonna do just real quick, because my mom is actually in attendance right now, and she is very excited for Wendy. So Wendy is amazing. She is a spiritual interior designer. So now I'll let you take it over. But mom, I know you've been waiting. So
I'll take questions at the end. I just want to do a quick little story, and then I'm going to do an intro and just tell you a little bit about myself and the difference between spiritual interior design versus regular interior design. And I'm going to throw a couple tips your way, and then I'll take some questions at the end, if depending on how much time we have. But I wanted to start out with like a client story because I do consultations and I go into people's homes and I'm assessing not only their interiors, but also them as people. And so one of my interesting assessments was with an engineer and an artist. And so when I got into the home, the artist had it was the woman and she had decorated the entire home and and the husband really didn't feel comfortable. They actually both didn't feel comfortable, and the woman had decorated with a lot of bright colors and a lot of beautiful things and a lot of flow, but it just didn't feel right to both of them. And so what the assessment ended up being was that the man's energy was not represented in the home. And when I asked them what they did for a living, that was where I pretty much found out like why his energy was not represented, because she was an artist, he was an engineer, and engineers typically are love straight lines and symmetry, and they're left-brained, versus artists who are more right-brained and who love flow and color. And so those things, those questions that I ask in the design consultation, they're so important because there's the connection between your home and you as people. And so, how did I accomplish this? Like, how did I bridge the gap or whatever? Well, some of the techniques or things that I did, solutions, were basically taking color and using color and the energy of color to kind of calm the space down, but also still give those brighter pops of color in different ways for the woman who was really inspired by color, and then creating again that symmetry through furniture and other things to give that man the feeling of support in the home as well. And so great design is all about balancing, but it's also balancing all of the elements, and it's also balancing the personalities of the clients themselves within the home. So I know that, and I wanted to just talk about a little bit more as we move forward, the difference between spiritual interior design and like what we would consider regular interior design. Um, and I guess before that, I also want to say, so I've been in the art and design world for 20 years. I've also been on a spiritual path for 30 years. And I'm extremely passionate, not only about art and design and interiors, but also the connection between people and their home. Um, I sold my first painting when I was 10 years old, and I was sold at an art fair, and I ran to a design store and bought a chenille pillow and an Angora throw. And I think my parents knew at that point in time that was going to be my my chosen career. And then designed my room with a million different colors that just made me feel so good, and told a story with the colors. And thank God I had the parents that I actually had. It was they let me experience things. Um, but the difference between, so again, I just want to hit on the difference between spiritual interior design and then I guess the regular interior design, or what you call regular, is that spiritual interior design is the awareness that our home is not just a shelter. It is an actual living, breathing thing that surrounds us and vibrates. Just as we vibrate and hold a vibration, so does your home and all the furnishings in your home. And so the philosophy balances aesthetics, spatial flow, energy, natural elements, and then, of course, the occupants of the home and the personalities of those. And so, as we affect space, space also affects us. And we can restore peace and balance in our daily lives if you treat your environment and align your environment with the highest good for yourself and the people that are living in it. And we know that because we've all walked into spaces where we've just felt so great. And then also on the other side of that, have walked into spaces that might have even been decorated, but that just didn't have a good feeling. And now during COVID, we're figuring all this out because we've been spending so much time in our homes. And so bringing that unique awareness to each client into the space, customizing a client's visions or goals for themselves or for their home, and designing with intention and showing them how to set intentions for themselves. Those are the things that I do. So that is the difference between a regular interior designer and then kind of what I do. And I take into account all different things from how your house sits, a little bit of feng shui tailored to my own style, color, personality, and everything else that you have in your house, and what you're holding on to in your house as well. So, uh, and how you treat your house, all those things matter. So, a couple things that I wanted to just throw out there to give some tips for people that to better harmonize your home. The first thing to do is to assess your life. So if you walk in to your home and walk into from the outside, clear your mind and walk into your home, your main entrance, and start going into room by room and kind of trying to stand outside of yourself and feeling how you feel in each room. Um, Not too many people do this. And then thinking how you want to feel in that room. So, depending on what the feeling is and then how you want to feel, that's where your starting point is. So, which rooms feel good to you? Which rooms don't feel so good to you? And which rooms feel really not so good to you? And kind of rate them and see where they are in your home um, and see what you are looking to change. And then that's your real starting point. During my consultations, I ask a lot of questions, of course, and do a deep dive about people and their circumstances. And, some of the things I find, like just for examples, is that people will say to me that their kids are hyperactive or their kids are having a hard time sleeping. And most likely, if I walk into the child's room, it's there's not enough storage or organization, so they feel chaotic. And then also too, their colors in the room are probably extremely bright. And so children, out of all of us, are so sensitive to color. And so thinking about the color on your walls, not just your favorite color looking pretty, it's really about like what's going to support you during wherever function you're using in that room, for instance, sleep. And right now this COVID is challenging. I will say children are asked to study and sleep in the same room. So um, I've been getting a lot of questions related to what's the best color for children sleeping and living in the room. And the answer to that right now is blue green. So it does have a calming and supportive uh, tone, and it also allows focus and also skin tones. So, and there, other questions as well, like I get as far as like deep dive is I've had people ask me, they're trying to find a mate, and I've walked into their bedrooms, and their bedrooms they're either full of clutter or they're a dumping ground for the whole entire everybody else. So there's a lot of mixed energy in there if they have children or they have other people's things in there. Or they also have one nightstand or one lamp. And so they're not really trying to invite anybody into that room on an energetic level. And there's just it, because what you're saying to the universe is there's no room for anybody else to come in. So a lot of this stuff can be literal. So you definitely want to think about your spaces and take a good look and see how you want to feel, and are you feeling the way you want to feel in your spaces. The next tip I have for you, for everyone, is to be intentional with color. Color holds vibration just like we do, just like furnishings do, and it is emotional. So it evokes emotion. And usually there are general meanings and general symbolism and general rules for color, but color really goes back to childhood. So somebody could have a really fond memory of a color and it means something to them from childhood, or or the opposite, where they just don't like a certain color and they might not know it so much, and then they're living in it and it's creating negative energy towards them. um, Everybody has their own individual perception of color and their own level of intensity too as well. So one of the things to really think about is do you like the colors in your home? Because you should be able to walk into your home and feel great. You want to feel good, and you definitely don't want to feel like you want to go on vacation. If your vacation spot, you feel better there than you do at your home, then you need to switch things up. And color is an easy way to do it, and it's the biggest bang for your buck, and it will change your life in a quick and fat like a quick fashion. You will be able to move forward quickly because you'll feel supported because all of your walls are holding that energy. So right now with color, because of COVID, we're finding that a lot of the colors of the last 5 to 10 years actually were on the cooler side. Grays were the normal. There was a lot of whites. And now we're adding a little bit more warmth to that. So we're seeing a lot more cream. We're seeing actually more like ancient colors, where you see the terracottas, like color that actually has rooted tradition in it. So your warmer colors are coming back in style a little bit, and then they are getting mixed a little bit with the cooler, but traditionally warm. So the whites are going out and the creams are coming in to, and that's because people are really needing that extra support. They're home way more than they were before. So as far as offices are concerned, I do want to throw this out there for generally, and I say general because most people, um, of course, color is individualistic. Most colors affect most people. Um, but blues, just like the child's bedroom, blues are the best color right now for your office because they are absolutely calming and they allow for real focus. So a lighter blue, or a deep dark blue, and I don't know if you can see my office if it's behind me, but this is my office. Um, they allow for heightened focus. So darker colors will allow for introspection and deep focus, while lighter colors will allow for a little bit less. So, and during my energy assessment, that's I determine the colors that are best for families, and I determine the colors that are best for each person, and then kind of bring that together in a palette that works for the whole home. And so we also determine what areas might need some upliftment with different colors that will help you to support like any kind of changes that you want to make or goals that you have moving forward. And then the last tip that I wanted to give you today was about balance. So definitely want to make sure that everything, if you know nothing, it doesn't even matter as long as everything is balanced. You just want to make sure that the elements in your home, wood, metal, and different furnishings are, are not out of whack. So if you too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. So if you have a lot of wood in your home, like you have a lot of wood paneling or shiplap, or big, huge entertainment centers in wood, and you have, then you want to take that and then balance that with colors or different energies with glass, metal. So make sure that you have a mix of different types of furnishings in your home. You also can balance energies easily with sound therapy and with scents and elements of nature. Bringing nature into your home uh, helps balance everything out as well, because just like nature, we move in cycles. So it brings that connection inward. And so again, in my blessing kit, there's I work with tuning forks, which balance out the energy. I also have essences that I use, and then crystal energies. And I use a lot of crystal energies to set intentions. And personally, in my home, I have a essential oil diffuser that is running 24/7 with lavender right now, because for a calming feeling in my home, I've got 5 different energies running all at the same time, and everybody's homeschooled. So it tends to get a little crazy around here. So I definitely go to the balance of the lavender and different crystal energies for that. Um, but I just want to remind everybody that the connection between our interiors is also the basis for managing any type of stress and emotions. And so if you're really stressed out, a lot of the times, the best thing to do is look towards your home, because your home will reflect back to you who you are at the moment. And so if you feel overwhelmed and stressed, chances are your home is chaotic and unorganized. Um, and then when you decide to change yourself for the better, you also want to change your furnishings and change your surrounding environment, even if it's just a couple upgrades. So you feel that new, fresh energy. So it will help you move forward in a more of a easier in an easier way, because everybody just wants to feel good and be positive and feel that positivity. So that's pretty much all I have for today, but I would love to take some questions. Um, Katie, I don't know if I can see the questions or you see the questions, or.
Yeah. So, are you able to see the chat right now?
I don't can. Yes, I think I can. Yes.
Okay. It looks like we have a question from Susie Berry.
Okay. What can I do if I live with my parents and feel overwhelmed with their energy and unable to change it? Okay, so unfortunately, you definitely have you definitely have to try to manage that, and I have actually been there before, so I completely understand that one for sure. So the best thing to do is you have your own bedroom, hopefully, Susie. And if you do have your own bedroom, make that your respite and put all of your own energy into that, and make it so when you go into your room, you recharge. Try if you can, if you have to do office work in there and you have to uh, have multiple things going on in there, try to separate it out, even if it's with a screen, if it's with different paint colors, and try to keep it as neat as possible. Take everything out from under your bed so the energy flows at night and you get a peaceful, good sleep. You'll gain some clarity from not having the stuff under your bed. And um, try to hold your energy in one room. That's what I used to do, and it worked out well for me. I also threw a bunch of affirmations every which way too. And then the other thing you can do is throw, if you're allowed to in your parents' house, to put certain things in there. You can use some blue calcite and throw some blue calcite around in the family areas, and that'll settle it down a little bit too.
That's so interesting. it looks like Mercedes has a question as well.
Sure. What do you recommend make large rooms feel more comfortable? Um, Large rooms need multiple sitting areas. So they need multiple sitting areas and multiple conversation areas, or different areas to whatever your function is. So if you're talking about like a living room that you're sharing a lot of energies and a lot of space, make sure that within that living room that everybody has like a little place of solitude, whether it's a reading chair, like a reading chair over in one area, a sitting area. So multiple sitting areas will accommodate it. So you're not having to be like on top of each other. And I'm doing terrible at reading these. I'm sorry.
I can read them if that
Sure.
helps. So it looks like Samantha asked, you mentioned dark colors for an office, but what colors would you recommend for a bedroom space? We have an accent wall, but the color unfortunately was not what we wanted. Now we are a little nervous about doing it again.
So bedrooms are the most important space that you have in your home. If you ever do a renovation, uh, that is the place. Everybody wants to start with the rooms that you see when you walk in the door, and that's the wrong place to start. Actually, your bedroom is where you spend most of your time. It's where you recharge, and it's where all of your energy really gets rooted. And you can do a lot of things with that. So I tend to always recommend bedroom spaces to be a little bit on the warmer side and skin tones. So anything from creams to, terracottas, and depending on if you can't sleep or not. So if you have a hard time, you or your spouse have a hard time sleeping, you want a little bit of a darker color. And then if you want to wake up and feel like you wake up at 5:30 and you jump out of bed and you start the day, then you definitely want like a lighter color. But I would stick to skin tones. I wouldn't go into the blues and the greens.
And then we have a question. How do you make a room feel more feminine?
Okay, so panels and fabrics. So draperies and fabrics for sure. You can do layered draperies. I'm not a huge drapery fan. I'm more of the simple drapery person. So I do like, you can do a sheer, and right now sheers are popular and they have really great designs on them. And then lighting is another one. So if you can get electricians to come in, layered lighting. I love chandeliers hanging on my bedside nightstands. So I'm a big fan of that. If I'm having a hard time getting romantic vibe in a client's house, that's the first thing that I go to. If you can put it on a dimmer and get an electrician to do it, it's fantastic because it sets like an incredible ambiance and it gives you that like romantic feel as soon as you walk in. Make sure your bedding is, it doesn't have to cost a lot, but make sure your bedding's luxurious. Make sure your sheets are luxurious. Um, and then, if you do put flowers in your room, you want to make sure that they have rounded leaves. Or if you put plants in your room, make sure they have rounded leaves, and make sure that they're healthy.
Love that. We kind of have a blend of questions here. We have, what do you recommend for small spaces, like efficiency or one bedroom apartments? And then off of, we also have of people who rent and or are in dorms.
Okay, so I'm going to say for dorms and for small spaces, organization, 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 and organization. Really look at the space, and if you can, and you take it, when you look at something on a floor plan, it is very different than walking into a space. And if you're not used to walking into a space and being able to visually have like that spatial, like to be able to see it and put it there and know that that's like so many inches, I recommend doing a floor plan. You can get graph paper and really kind of plan it out, because there's really innovative ways that you can get shelving. And oh my, there's so many things that you can do as far as shelving and different like solutions. And even if you go to the Container Store or you look at different things and you can't afford it because you're in a dorm room or whatever, you can't have it. There is so many different ways. I mean, YouTube it, Pinterest, to like do as long as it's organized, and baskets, get baskets and covered everything, and try to visually make everything like serene. So bookshelves have very, very cutting energy. And so when I do bookshelves, I make sure that I lay books flat, up, every which way. And you can do that in a dorm room with baskets too. Like put a basket in to house all your stuff so you can't see it on top of books, and just alter the book so it's not that straight cutting energy.
I love that. This question I actually would love to know myself is, what are your thoughts on mirrors and placements of mirrors?
So I love mirrors. Big fan of mirrors. They can do all kinds of amazing things. So mirrors can energize a space. They can deflect negative energy, and they can also bring in other energies to you. They can widen a space, make spaces feel bigger. They have a lot of different functions and purposes. Um, I'm not a big fan of mirrors in your bedroom because there is a big energy there. If you do have a mirror in your bedroom and you can put it behind your door and hide it while you sleep, that's great. But as far as mirrors, keeping mirrors out of your bedroom is a great thing. Mirrors, as far as in a large room or a dining room, and if it's a smaller room, it will open it up. So I do love them. I like them uh, around 60 inches, if that makes sense. But when people walk around, so because you want everybody's head to be able to be in it. So if you have shorter people, I'm on the shorter side. You want to make sure that everybody's face is nothing's cut off, nothing's hung too high. And I hope I answered that question. If somebody has another specific one on that, I can help out better too. Oh my God, that would absolutely drive me mad with the books. Yeah. What energy does the glam look give? It gives it a state of elegance. So it depends if the glam is how well it's done is the reality of it. Because if it's kind of and it depends where it is in your home. Like if you have like a chandelier in your bedroom that also gives romantic, and you have you want to buy the best possible furnishings you can buy in your house, period, because the energy of the furnishings really do matter. But if you look at that like glam light and whatever you see out of it and you feel from that, that's what you're going to get out of it. So if you're looking at a crystal chandelier and it makes you feel amazing and beautiful and wealthy, then by all means stick it in your house. If you think you're gonna, you can incorporate it into your design.
I love that. Um, any other questions from anyone? We do have a couple minutes. It's funny because this really, even especially with the full moon, after we're done, I'm definitely going to go clean my room and clear everything out. You know what? I had a question. You mentioned the like having one of a nightstand or of a lamp or something, and also like if it's your energy keeping it. And so I was wondering about people that live with their spouse or something, how they go about keeping their, space in their room for them while also making sure that their other one feels comfortable and invited.
So in their bedroom or in their home, like in their
From their
bed.
bedroom, yeah.
So I just try to make sure that for a couple, I'm a big fan of no TVs, because TVs will ruin your love life in your bedroom. It's for sure. It's the truth. No electronics. And then as far as keeping everybody, as long as you have symmetry on both sides, so you have equal, because you will see that if somebody has a higher lamp or a lower lamp, you'll have arguments as well. So making sure everything is exactly like all symmetrical, and then you have your own, like your own stuff on your side, and your own stuff, and you definitely are represented on that on each side, but then also taking into account and I know this is a big one, but uh like my husband hates pillows. He absolutely hates pillows, and I'm like the pillow queen, right? So I I I compromise and say 3 pillows is what I get on my bed, like making sure that everybody is really, really represented in that room. And if they don't like a color, or they don't like a scent, like making sure it is definitely not in that bedroom. Their own
I,
closets are important too, if you can afford it.
yeah. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Wendy. This session was amazing. I love interior design. I know a lot of people were really interested in it, and that was the perspective of things I've never thought of before. So, thank you very, very much. I think Amber just put your page in the chat. So, for anyone that wants to check out more about Wendy, you can go visit her. She does consultations, she does whole plans. So, whatever you're looking for, she also has her gift sets. She has like everything in between, for ways that you can learn more and work with her.
Well, thank you, ladies.
It's always a pleasure.
Yep. Have a great day. Have a great night.
You too.
Take care.